Hello all and welcome to Up Top. It's game day 37 review and part of a preview. Well, today I'm still up front, but got a new strike partner in a normal face of Alex Osborn and playing in the number 10 role today, Steven Cotton.
Bit bumbly to be playing a number 10, I'll tell you that.
No, you're a big guy. You can just hold it up and then just feed it on.
Yeah. Kai Havertz is tall, isn't he? And he likes playing in behind the side.
I'm sure everything will be fine. Did you know that if you put Up Top into Google, our name comes up first?
Does it really?
Yeah, imagine that.
Wow.
How legend is that? What I might do from where you're sitting, Alex, I'm just going to move. I'm going to move Cotton into that number 10 role.
Oh, you're actually going to put it up, Dave?
Yeah. Into the shadow striker role. That's what I'm going to do. Right. So things have changed a lot in the last 24 hours in terms of who's going down, who's getting what, and things have started to hot up quite a bit. And it's made it very, very interesting with the result that no one expected yesterday. Watford 0, Man City 4.
I knew you were going to do that. I just knew you were going to do that.
Mr. Predictable, I? Jesus Christ. Man City, they absolutely slapped them in their two games this season in the league. It's 12-0, and imagine if Watford were going to go ahead and lose both of those games, but just tighten it up a little bit. They'll probably be sitting in West Ham's position right now in terms of the goal difference situation. How much of that game did you catch, Cotton, and what did you think of it? And there's more to talk about Watford in a sec, but what were your thoughts?
No, I watched it all. Do you know, first 10-15 minutes, Watford didn't look too bad. It did look like they were going to bed in and just see if they can ride the wave. But City, when they're in that mood, it doesn't matter how many you park the bus with, that they will find the way through, and they did with Sterling's absolutely beautiful. Was it half volley?
Yeah, it was sexy, weren't it? It sort of like dug it out.
Yeah, like it was one of those. It almost bounced out the back of the net, sort of thing. But Watford are in some serious trouble. Some serious trouble now. I can't see him surviving. I can't see him any scenario now which they get out of this.
What about you, Alex? What do you think?
I mean, I think it deserves Watford right, basically. Sacking their manager 2 games ago, because I feel like, despite some of the rumours that me and you have heard, and I was telling Cotton about yesterday as well, forgetting that, if they thought, we're safe because we've got 2 games to go and we can't see Villa winning their last 2 games, we're going to just go and sack a manager because, for whatever reason.
Well, the rumor that's circulating around now is the fact that Nigel Pearson got sacked because he was due a giant bonus if he kept Watford in the Premier League.
Yes, but and just specify that is obviously a rumour. It's not.
Yeah, Scott reporting this morning that even he will still get. It's £1 million. He will still get his $1 million if Watford stay up. So that can't be the reason.
Yeah. So. I think Watford just they thought they had it sewn up, so they were like, right, we just want to get a new manager in because Watford like sacking managers. The board like sacking managers stupidly, and it's going to backfire on them. And I think that's quite sweet football justice, to be fair.
One crazy stat I heard yesterday during the game as well. Nigel Pearson is the only one of the 4 managers Watford have had this season to win a home game in the league.
So the other 3 didn't win one?
Apparently, well, I'm only going by what I heard yesterday on Sky, and that's what they said.
Ridiculous. Well, Watford need to better the result of Aston Villa now, because it's back in Aston Villa's hands to stay up in the Premier League. And Aston Villa, they picked up a 1-0 win yesterday over the Arsenal. Now, this is classic Arsenal, isn't it? Beat Liverpool, beat City, lose to Villa.
Yeah, it is classic Arsenal. Well, certainly the Arsenal of the last 10 years or so. I mean, I could kind of see this coming, especially as they put a lot of effort into those last two games, and they had to sort of rotate the squad because it's only been a couple of days since their last fixture, and I did see that the biggest gap that Arsenal have had between fixtures since the restart has been 5 days. They've been playing every 3 days, so it's been quite tough on a squad which has picked up a lot of injuries. It's still trying to find its way, and I feel like this is all the excuses coming out.
It is, because I find that the results have been better for Arsenal when they've had only 3 or 4 days. The longer the period, the worse the result has been.
I feel like they didn't really have anything to play for. They've got the.
Of course, they have league positions. It's more. You get more money the higher up you finish in the league.
But Villa had more to play for than Arsenal, and that is a big thing. It's a level playing field. But the problem is, as we saw last night on the game, Arsenal just don't have any creativity in the middle of the park to link the attacks together. And you could say, oh well, there's a perfect player right there and not being picked in Mesut Ozil. But when was the last time Mesut Ozil actually did that job for Arsenal to a satisfactory level? So that's, I think, the main area they need to address in the summer or in the transfer window. And Villa, they were defensively sound for a change, which was one of their issues they've had for the majority of the season.
How does this play out now, Cotton?
Well, going back to what Alex said, I completely agree. I think if you look at the Arsenal squad depth, you're just running on empty at the minute. You've had 2 massive games in the space of a week. It was on the cards, wasn't it? But I think your major problem is, and I said this to you last night when we were watching the game, there's no plan B. Lacazette, Aubameyang, to a degree, Saka, your front players, your wingers and strikers are all very similar players. And what did I say to you last night? Who's the one man you could have done with last night with 20 minutes to go?
King Olivier Giroud, the first.
Some crosses into the box, just something different to try and break it down, because you were trying to pass your way in, as Arsenal do. And when that's not working for 60, 70 minutes against a team that are completely, like Alex said, they were defensively sound, they bedded in, it's not working. You need a different approach, and there wasn't one. I don't think...
Oh, God.
Sorry, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, people are actually slating the tactics that Aston Villa deployed, but that's exactly what Arsenal have done for their last 2 games. So
Aston Villa need to stay up. Another thing is, I think Arsenal's quality on the ball. I know you're talking about creativity, but there was times when players were in crossing positions and the crosses were poor, or the final decision making was poor because they took a few touches before getting the cross in the box. And it was just very tired and laboured. I think Arsenal. I think at the end of the day now, I mean, he's talking about league positions. This is going to sound horrible because it sounds like we're spoiled rich clubs. A couple of mil either way where you finish doesn't really matter to Arsenal. I think see the season out right. If the last game of the season, stick the kids out or whatever. Concentrate on your final, because winning the FA Cup might be, well, it looks like the only way you're going to get into a European Cup.
It can be, yeah. It can't go any other way.
So you've got to give everyone a rest, play the final game of the season, bed some youngsters, give someone a debut, and just roll on next season. I think a lot of us now, it's been a very long season. I think quite a few teams have just want to fall over the lines, get it done, and get some transfers in, or even with certain managers, get some more time with your squad, so you've got something to figure out who's best in what place. And it's not all doom and gloom for Arsenal. It hasn't been a great season, but I don't think many clubs can look around and say they've had a great season.
Yeah, fair enough.
Absolutely, I think Cotton's nailed it perfectly there, and that lad who was running past you, Gav, must have heard him talking.
must have agreed. Big games tonight. Manchester United versus West Ham in particular. That is a giant game for both ends. If Man United somehow put a bit of a slap in against West Ham, which is not against the realms, we're not United put in 5 against Bournemouth only a couple of weeks ago. If it is a bit of a slap, it could invite West Ham back into a dangerous situation, because then what West Ham versus Villa on the last day, you know, that is just say if that ends up saying like a 3-0 Villa, which is also not against the realms of possibilities, West Ham could be in a spot of bother as well down there. That game's tonight at 6 p.m, which is on Sky Sports. And United need to win that game.
I can see this is. I reckon this can be a struggle. We do not play well against West Ham. I don't know what it is, but I could see this being a draw. I could see this being a really sloppy draw.
Alex?
I completely understand where Cotton's coming from. You always teams always seem to have bogey teams, don't they? West Ham do appear to be one of United's bogey teams. They've got history of doing it to United previously. I've got a little bit more confidence in Man United. I think that they'll go back to the team that they've been playing in the Premier League. Having changed it from the weekend, so Pogba will come back in. I'm not sure who else he was kind of rested from that game, but I know
Martial didn't start.
Martial
didn't start. That's it. Yeah, Lindelof, wasn't it? I think Lindelof will come back in. So these players will come back in and give that team just a freshen up that they did from the weekend. They'll want to bounce back from that game. I think I could see United winning this one 2-0, 2-1. I think that's where I'm going to go with that one.
I feel that if West Ham ship an early goal, then this could be a drubbing. I'm going as high as 4. I'm going 4-0 Man United.
Wish I shared that confidence.
It's easy when it's not your team, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Liverpool are going to be receiving the Premier League trophy tonight at Anfield against Chelsea. Remember when Liverpool and Chelsea were just playing against each other all the time? Remember when they had like the second phase of the Champions League and stuff back in the day?
The Luis Garcia ghost goal.
Oh my God, yeah. Alex free kick.
Yeah.
You know, there's been a few iconic moments between these two sides, and they are two powerhouses of Premier League football. But this has got 0-0 written all over it.
You reckon?
Yes.
You think?
Yes. Liverpool put their strong side out. Chelsea are the most indifferent team in the history of mankind. I can't see anything happening.
Again, the dynamic in this game is very similar to some of the games we've had recently, where one team has actually got something to play for and the other team haven't. So Liverpool, they can no longer get the record points. Okay, they can no longer get. Obviously, I don't think they've got any other record. I suppose the only record that they could have is obviously winning or staying undefeated at home for the whole season.
Staying undefeated at home, yeah, but then.
But Chelsea's desire to get in the Champions League and need to qualify for the Champions League trumps that, and Chelsea are in a bit of good form at the moment. They've won at the weekend. Okay, they played well against Manchester United, albeit Manchester United side that they only had a couple of days rest, had rotated a few players, but Chelsea probably still deserved the win regardless. There's news obviously coming out that they're pretty close to signing Kai Havertz as well. So Chelsea are riding a bit of a high at the moment, aren't they? So the only thing is, we all know, all three of us know, that Chelsea are quite shaky at the back, and Liverpool at home are still Liverpool at home, aren't they? I mean, they haven't lost there.
Dangerous.
They haven't lost there for a long time, have they?
Like 2 years, isn't it? 3 years, nearly.
I know Liverpool haven't got a lot to play for, sort of thing. But if you look at their form just before lockdown, obviously they lost to Watford, they got beat by Atletico. Then straight after lockdown, they haven't been particularly great. I think they've lost a few games. They drew against Burnley, then lost to Arsenal. I think Klopp will be saying to his players, "Look, come on, you've been the best team in Europe all season. We're lifting the trophy tonight. Do not mess this up. Like, go up there, put a performance on, show why you're Premier League champions, and put this Chelsea team to the sword, because they don't want to be. It's not. I wouldn't say embarrassing, because obviously they've won the league, but they've spent over £1 million on a display after the game tonight. You don't want to get beat 3-0 by Chelsea and then have your fireworks going off and your laser show lifting the title.
Yeah, it has a weird feel to it, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think Liverpool have got to put it on tonight, and
here's the other thing as well. Liverpool have had a full week between matches because they didn't play at the weekend. They only played last Wednesday, and as Cotton alluded to, they lost to Arsenal. So they're going to want to rectify that, especially Alisson and Van Dijk. I mean, they catastrophic errors, which pretty much gifted Arsenal the win there. They're going to want to bounce back. I just feel like maybe Chelsea's motivation is probably they have a stronger motivation in this match, which could level it out a bit. But
Indeed.
I think Liverpool will win this one. To be honest with you, I think there's going to be goals scored. I don't know if it's going to be 0-0.
Yeah, I'm still sticking to my one. Right then, guys, it's time for this.
What are Everton?
What are Everton?
Indeed.
Well,
They end up pulling out a result.
If you'd have listened to my advice, and I've said they're winning 1 or 2-0, so I'll take that.
You got a nice little winning of a free bet as well, didn't you? From this,
I did say when we did the score predictions, I said Newcastle draw. I said a boring draw. I said this 1 or 2-0. I have Wolves, and then Juventus, Porto, and someone else. But yeah, it was Everton. I mean, again, they didn't even look that great in this game when they won. I just don't know where you even begin. And obviously, I posted the graphic on the top wall of Everton spending in their last 4 or 5 managers. It's obscene.
Talking about spending, I'm pretty certain I heard on the radio that they're going to sign Højbjerg.
But that's a more sensible. It's going to be about 20 million, isn't it? He's Premier League proven. That's a half decent signing. I've got no problem with that.
And he's only 24, I think, as well, Højbjerg.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So you've got years in him as well before he makes a move to someone else.
Yeah, they've got to replace Schneiderlin, haven't they? So.
But yeah, that was Sheffield United's opportunity, really, wasn't it, to try and do something in terms of cementing a European spot. Now it's just like been thrown completely out there. And now, even if they don't get into Europe this year, it'll be a shame. It'll be still a wonderful season, but I think that would just be the perfect way of capping off such a great first year.
I just think that they've run out of steam, haven't they? They were one of those teams that they were riding high on momentum and riding high on the fans and stuff. And straight after lockdown, it's completely cut their legs off. They look tired. They look like they haven't got that extra thing driving them on. And unfortunately for them, I think that they're just going to miss out. I'm looking at the table now. There's not many teams as far down as you go. So Sheffield United are in 8th. The only team that scored less goals than them you get to 13, and Newcastle have scored 37 goals. I mean, Sheffield United have only scored 38 goals this season. They've conceded 36, so it shows you they're grinding out 1-0s. But that's.
Yeah, they're 4th in terms of goals conceded, but I think they're 14th in terms of goals scored.
Yeah,
so they need to start working out how to put the ball in the back of the net. But McBurney isn't someone that you can rely on.
No,
Goldrick isn't someone you can rely on. Billy Sharp isn't someone you can rely on. So.
But they've scored 1 more goal this season than Bournemouth. They've only scored 4 more goals than Watford. They've scored less than Villa, less than West Ham. One more than Brighton. So you see where the problem lies with them. And like you said, McGoldrick scored his first ever Premier League goal. Season's finished, mate. We're done. We're packed up. We've gone. Like it's too late. So for them next season, they need to, if they want to have another push, they need a Premier League proven striker. And
absolutely.
Leeds.
Alex,
Leeds are coming up, and apparently Leeds are looking at Cavani. Now,
Jesus,
Sheffield United wouldn't do themselves a disservice to look at someone of that ilk on a free. So
I don't think Sheffield United are in the same bag as Leeds. But who do they go out and buy, Alex?
Honestly, you could think, well, maybe they could look at potentially buying someone, say someone from Bournemouth, for example.
I was just about to say Callum Wilson.
Yeah, Josh King, someone like that, who has scored goals in the Premier League. We know that Chris Wilder did get a bit. It was looking like he got a bit of a tune out of Lys Mousset earlier this season. That I don't know. I don't know if he's been playing recently. I don't recall him being in the Sheffield United side.
not really.
Wasn't he? He didn't play yesterday because I don't know if I remember it correctly, but they said something that there'd been a bust up. That's why he wasn't even on the subs bench, I believe. Could be wrong.
So much drama in the Premier League.
Yeah, I could be wrong, but
it would. Or the other thing that they could do is they could look at players who kind of like Southampton did with Danny Ings, right? A player who's played for a top club and is either it's been injured a bit or he's not getting the game time that he wants, but he's still a Premier League player. Potentially Oliver Giroud. I don't know. Would Oliver Giroud go to Sheffield United? But that kind of player, so that they have got experience in the Premier League, want to start games, right? And with Sheffield United, they'll go to Sheffield United, they'll be their main man, and they can do it. The one thing I will also say about Sheffield United, they have to be careful for next season because, as Cotton's alluded to, their scorelines are very close, aren't they? It's either a 1-0 win, 1-1 draw, 0-0, 1-0 loses. It only takes 4 or 5 games.
Why not?
It could do. It only takes 4 or 5 games where they've got those 1-0 wins and those 1-1 draws, and they go to loss because those games are so tight, and they're going to be struggling next season, Sheffield United, if they're not careful, because it's such a they play football really tightly, and when you play football really tightly, it doesn't take a lot for it to go against you rather than for you.
If they'd have invested in a half decent striker, it would have paid dividends because they probably would have got Europe, which means more money, more sponsorship. So they could have done with that. Quickly on the Lys Mousset thing, Wilder was asked about it, and he said, "I don't want to comment on that situation. Thank you."
So that's drama. That's drama.
Just one more point as well about Europe. Maybe, as Cotton says, it would have been good for them, obviously, getting the sponsorship and all of that goes with playing in Europe and the prestige. I will say this, though. There has been other sides previously that have been promoted to the Premier League, got into Europe, and then when they played Europe the next season, it actually affected their league form, and they've gone down. The main one that I'm thinking of is Ipswich. When Ipswich came up, didn't they finish 4th or 5th that season?
They finished 5th, and they just missed out in the last couple of weeks of finishing in the Champions League spots when they were like Pablo Cunyago and who else? Alex Mathy, stuff like that.
Wasn't that the Titus Bramble?
Yeah, that's the Bramble that got him the name initially. He got moved to Newcastle,
but they got relegated the next season, didn't they? They were in Europe. I don't know how well they did in Europe. I don't think they got too far, but they just capitulated in the league. And with a small squad like Sheffield United's, without the added games, I think that's going to help them as well for next season. I think they should try to establish themselves in the Premier League before pushing on.
Yeah, that Giroud kind of signing there from Stephen Deakins, who joined us with the watch along at the weekend. Thank you very much for your comments and thanks for watching the show. That's the type of person, someone who he would be able to go there and start week in, week out, and they've got the money enough now. It just depends whether Giroud can see himself being there or not, more than anything else. Let's talk about a game that doesn't really need talking about because we get that out of the way. It's Bournemouth 0, Newcastle 0. The only benefit of this scoreline was the fact that it sorted out Cotton's pocket. There was a couple of penalty decisions in there, though, which I felt that should have been given. The challenge on Mopai, and it didn't even go to VAR. And I think it was Matt Ritchie who tangled with him, fell over onto his leg. So it's a foul, but it didn't even get looked at. And that surprised me somewhat. And then there was a challenge by Tariq Lamptey. I'm looking at that going, that's a pen, but Mopai gets up and runs along. Because he's got up and run along, it doesn't mean that.
Yeah, but that was
it's not a foul.
Same with the Sterling Will Hughes penalty. Because everyone's saying, well, is it a penalty? You look at Will Hughes' reaction. He's not complaining. He knows he's got a big chunk of the man. That's what it is.
I forgot to mention about that game. How sick was that penalty save from
beautiful.
from Ben Foster? It's literally, it's one of those where if the keeper, if it goes the other way, that ball's going to the top corner. It's sort of like got there just in time, big strong arm, and unfortunately it landed back in the path of Sterling.
Talking of things that we've also didn't meant to say, can we just give a big shout out? Jack Grealish was immense last night. Best player on the park from either side. He was absolutely everywhere, and I think he showed his kind of worth as a player. In
Shop
the
window,
league.
mate.
I think the stock went up.
Shop window. But Villa will be happy if he can keep him in the league.
Also asked after the game if it was his last game at Villa Park, he said he doesn't know and he doesn't want to speculate.
So that means yes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, we spoke about Villa, so we'll stay in the West Midlands there. And it's the final game that we're going to be looking at. So there you go. It's always like it works out just like how it's meant to be sometimes, doesn't it? Wolves 2, Crystal Palace 0. This game weren't great for me either. In terms of the look, apart from one moment of genius, Steven Cotton.
Oh, Jean Moutinho's little pass. Oof.
Wow.
Oof.
Wow. The thing is, it's a great pass anyway, and then you look at it from the other angle, and he's actually like hit it and dug his foot back out. Oh, it's that is a skill. It really is. It's like I'll tell you what it was like. You know, like if you're playing pool or snooker, and you just want to get a decent ball with, like, you want to strike a ball with a decent amount of screw back, and you aim right towards the bottom of the cue ball and literally like dig it and pull your cue back. That's exactly what he did with his leg, and it's just landed perfectly into the path of Doherty. Doherty's done a half volleyed first time whip across the box, and then Podence is there for his first goal in a Wolves shirt in the Premier League. So yeah, brilliant goal. And then Johnny. I don't know why I put Otto there. Why did I put Otto? It's Johnny, isn't it?
Johnny Otto.
It was Johnny Otto. But yeah, that's it's poor form from Gav Mack. So that was that. And Wolves are looking kind of tidy. They've got Chelsea on the last day of the season. So it all depends on what happens tonight at Anfield to see. Well, and at Old Trafford, really, to see what's going on in the last day of the season. It's very exciting up there. It's very tight. It would be hilarious if Chelsea did miss out. But well, I'm sure we'll see how that goes.
Do you want to know a very weird scenario for the top four, especially involving United? United could get 2 points out of the next 2 games and get Champions League football, but could get 3 points out of the last 2 games and miss out. Yeah.
Banter.
Weird, isn't it? Because obviously we played Leicester last game of the season. But I read that when I woke up this morning and I was just scrolling through Twitter and it hurt my head. I was like, what? No. And then obviously figured it out, but very weird.
There you go. We're back on tomorrow with a brief little chat about what's happened tonight. So it shouldn't be too taxing on your lunchtime breaks. And also, we're back at 5 p.m. for the top 5s. We're doing our top 5 favourite kits of all time. We've done our top 5 worst, and now we're doing our top 5 best / favourite. And there's a couple in there which I'm sure will be on a number of people's lists. But definitely for me, it's iconic and beautiful. But for myself, I'm Gav Mack. Alex Osborn and Steven Cotton. You can see our faces if you subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Make sure you do.
To Up Top Football. 70% of our viewers are not subscribed. So keep viewing it. Happy days. Appreciate it. But please subscribe to it. If you could, that would be wonderful. And also, did you know if you put 2 Up Top into Google, our name comes up first. Ta-da.